here's the thing. We are going to be talking today about guy lines and using them, different styles on your shelter. I'm going to show you some of my favorite because there's a lot of different ones that you can use. So if you don't know what this is when we have our shelter up off the ground and the actual corner loop of your shelter is not touching the ground to stake it in, you need something to fill in that distance, and that's generally going to be some type of rope. So you can see here I just have my tie out point. This is the corner of my tarp with my sewn in loop, and then I have a rope. So this rope is going to fill that void. So let's walk around this tarp. I laid it out. I have my favorite 4 and some little tips, tricks, and hacks that you can utilize when tying these things out. So let's start on this one, the most simplistic guy line that I have on this tarp. Now this tarp I specifically use for sleeping when at camp. It's large, it's a 10 by 10, but I use some special configurations, so I like to have these on here. And why I say this one is the most simplistic is literally just a piece of paracord tied onto the tarp loop. Okay, so you can see just one long piece. There's nothing done to it. It is just paracord. So how this actually works is I put my tent peg in, I bring this end down, and I just wrap it around my tent peg a few times. Very simple, and it will hold it in place. Okay, so this one really nice and easy. You can see I just use a bowline knot here, so if I get a lot of tension on this thing over time, it's going to be easy to still break this off and recover the line. Okay, next style, one of my favorites is a daisy chain. So what this is just another piece of paracord tied onto my loop, and then down the paracord has been doubled over. There is a series of knots. So you can see all these knots on their way down, and what those knots do is they create these loops. So I put my tent peg in the ground, and then I just find whatever loop creates the most tension or the amount of tension that I need from my tarp to the tent peg, and I simply just place it over the tent peg at that point, and I'm good to go. You don't have to worry about tying anything. You just find the correct loop and drop it on there. Plus, like this, in this case, I have just a big loop here. I can always add an extra knot, and that will create more smaller loops to get that exact tension that I would need. Okay, so the next one is a small twist off the very first one that we looked at. First and foremost, what I did was I used a beaner here. Okay, so this is just a snap link, quick link that I put onto the tarp loop itself. The reason for this is if you have a tarp and you don't always use these things, you can make up 4 of them, and then guess what? You just wrap them up, okay, and then take them along with you. Now you can use the quick link for any of the setups that I'm showing you. This is just to show another option for tying it off or connecting it, shall I say, to the tarp itself. Now, the reason that this is a one-off compared to the first one that I showed, it's still that just long individual line. So I can still take this and just wrap it around my tent peg when the tent peg's in the ground. But I went ahead and added one other feature, and that is a prusik loop. You can see it right here in my hand. So that is just a prusik loop made of bank line. So I have my paracord and my bank line. And then what I do is once I put my tent peg in place, I put my prusik over my tent peg, and I simply just adjust the line accordingly, and that will create tension in that prusik and line, and that's how I tension out my tarp. So this is going to give you very precise adjustment when it comes to making the shelter tight to the tent peg. All right, and then last but not least, we have an actual loop tie out with a specialty knot. So this is a Taut line hitch coming off my guy line. So this is connected to my tarp, and it comes down to form this bigger loop, as you can see. And then once I place this loop over my tent peg that's already in the ground, I can then go ahead and I can adjust this line, all right, via the knot up or down, depending on how I need to gain tightness in order to make my tarp proper. All right, and just like that, there are a few options when it comes to guy lines and ways that you can take your tarp from a flying configuration down to the ground and get great tension on it. Now you can mix and match these, use those quick links for different setups that they're removable. I mean, your imagination is literally just, it can run wild with this. So give all these different ones a shot, see what works best for you, and have a good time. So if you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe. You can also check us out at Coalcracker, Bushcraft.com for all our classes, our gear, and our blog. And until next video, stay in the woods.